On the one hand, we have what we know and what it feels like to be there because we have lived it, we have experienced it with our naked eye, we have felt it in our bodies. And on the other hand, we have something that is a desire. How do we create something that we do not yet know the physical experience of? How do we create from an unknown? We are building a muscle, and muscles take a bit of time to grow. You expand, they break down, they regress, all of that stuff. And you're building the muscle of learning how to dream with feeling, learning how to dream with your heart space, learning Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I hope that you have started your day with nothing short of health, wealth, peace, love, and light. As we explore healing, being from within, and conscious creation together in this space, I urge you to remember to be kind and patient with yourself and your thoughts. My name is Ola Gang, and I am your accidental therapist. So without straying too far, I wanted to get and dive straight into the meat of the conversation for today, and that is, where there is regression, there is growth. So we grow, we regress, and then we grow again. We regrow again. We expand further than where we were. I do want to steer, well, at least I wanted to steer this conversation in that specific direction about what it means for what regression means for our growth, and how it's so important for personal reflection. It's important for creating perspective of our reality. It's important for receiving this feedback that our minds and bodies want to give us. Hey, a butterfly. I love butterflies. They just represent, butterflies just represent like I don't know, if I'm having a negative thought, I'll always like imagine myself shriveling it up into like a small piece of nothing, but then it's like, but that energy still exists, so how do I change it? So then I imagine it being cocooned and then turning out into a butterfly, and it's like, negative thought away. I know it's a fun way of getting rid. I find it's a fun way of getting rid of negative thoughts for myself. Anyway, I'm digressing. You see, I do this. I have like little nuggets, and I'm like, oh, I want to share, and that's what I was saying. The intention for this podcast was for me to share about regrowth and what it means for conscious creation. But I found myself like thinking of this really cool link between conscious creation and regression. So this is where we start. You are exactly where you need to be. And that sounds like a cliche, but bear with me. You are exactly where you need to be in this moment in time. You watching this video is exactly where you need to be at this point in time to receive whatever you need to receive from it. If it's gonna help you in some way to follow a path that will help you down conscious creation, whether whether the help is coming from me or someone else, you are exactly where you need to be in this moment in time. Especially if you are conscious of your desires or where you desire to be. When you're conscious of this specific desire and also aware of the current state of being, it means you're exactly where you need to be, because you're here present in this moment, and you can look forward to this thing that you can look forward to this thing that you're trying to attain. And now this is where the conscious creation comes in, the attainment of this thing. So that sounded a bit mouthy and might have sounded a bit confusing, but I want to but just bear with me for a moment, because I want to set up the groundwork of creating multiple images so that when we merge them together, they create a full picture of understanding this concept of conscious creation. So frame number one. Last year when I started practicing yoga, it was around the time when I was going through this awakening to the essence of my being and what it means to, and what and who it means to be me, and understanding that what is happening within is basically a reflection of what I'm seeing on the without, and all of that stuff. So while I was going through this process, I remember even my diet changed, because I remember sugars, I couldn't process sugars. They would make me feel like I was burning on the inside. But that was a season of expansion and growth. And towards the end of the year, I guess this expansive period was coming to its end. This understanding of the essence of who I am was coming to its end, because I had reached the pinnacle of my growth of expansion for that specific season. And so I began to regress and lost sight of the practice. I also started having cookies again, which that pattern hasn't broken, and my body can my body is not too thrilled about that, but it's okay, because when I eat now, I do eat consciously, so it's not out of hand where I'm just throwing things into my body without being conscious of them. The second part of the frame is that a few weeks, about a month and a half ago, I started showing up to practice, or started showing up to my mat with more purpose and intention, and a lot more focus during my practice. But I found that there were conflicting things happening inside of my body. There was a fight between the strength that I know I have and the strength that I have now, and I was trying to force myself to be in the same and I was trying to force, or I was fighting to have the same type of flow in my practice. I was fighting to move as naturally as I did when the year ended. But I realized that strength had definitely weakened, like the strength, those muscles in my body, because I've gone too long without engaging them that intensely. They'd lost that strength, and my body was trying to fight back in order to be in the same place, have the same type of flow, but that didn't make sense for me. And instead of getting stronger, I was overworking my body, and I ended up hurting my shoulder because I was overworking it, fighting to be in the same place that I was in terms of how I flowed in my practice, in terms of the strength that I have in my body, but it wasn't there. Well, I should let go of my shoulder. It's fine now. It's healed. And I want to emphasize the fact that I've experienced the strength before, right? And I know exactly how it should feel as I'm flowing on the mat. I wasn't completely at the beginning, but I certainly wasn't where I was, no matter how hard I fought to keep up, regardless of this knowledge that I knew that I had acquired from when I had started practicing, regardless of all of that knowledge that I had attained. My strength is still where it is, and that's okay. That's okay too. And I just surrendered to my strength, so much so that last week when I was in my practice, I found myself moving swiftly and flowing with the practice with ease and not overworking my muscles, and I can see more definition. It sounds wild, but I'm feeling stronger this week than I did all of those other weeks that I was practicing. And I find that my body is building up a lot quickly, and when I tell you, within a week, I saw just a change in the muscle definition in my body, because I'm building up slowly and steadily with the knowledge that I have, instead of trying to be where I was and force this strength that is just no longer there. That I'm moving with where my body is, sturdily, slowly, and easily, because I've accepted the strength that I am in. And so the reason why my muscles are also picking up very quickly, I'm assuming, is muscle memory, right? Now, this is where the magic comes in. This is where the link fits in between regression and conscious creation. The only fundamental, so conscious creation, #manifestation works in the exact same fashion. The only fundamental difference is the word creation. Because you are creating from an unknown. You are creating from a desire, probably something that you may have not yet experienced, or something that you would like to experience again. It's a desire. It's not something that is at present with you in the physical sense. All right? So you are creating from this unknown. On the one hand, we have what we know and what it feels like to be there, because we have lived it, we have experienced it with our naked eye, we have felt it in our bodies. And on the other hand, we have something that is a desire. And I don't want to use the word want. Want makes it feel, it just disconnects you from the things that you desired. Want is like you don't have. So I'm gonna refrain from using want as much as possible. As much as possible. I'm gonna say desire. I'm gonna use the word desire. The weather today is actually so yummy. So how do we bridge this gap? How do we create something that we do not yet know the physical experience of? How do we create from an unknown? We have to create the feeling of it as if it is something that has happened or is happening, depending on where your imagination feels most comfortable. For me, I love to sit down, close my eyes, and imagine this thing is happening in that moment. And then when I open my eyes from this specific meditation, I'm done. I can move on. Now, why I say this is because I want you to do something. I want us to work on an exercise together. So just close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself desiring this beautiful grapefruit. Now, in order to attain this grapefruit, imagine you are excited about it. Imagine that your mouth is watering just looking at this beautiful, delicious, juicy looking fruit. Imagine that it is in your hand and you are about to devour. And when I say devour, I mean juices flowing all over you. Now, that is how did it. I actually want a grapefruit now. Now that is where you should be. That is the feeling that you should be following. That is where you should be in terms of your frame of mind, and entice the emotion inside of your body so much so that it feels like it's either happening or it has happened. Like I said, wherever you're most comfortable in terms of your imagination, it's all about the assumption of being there. It's this links back to the regression phase. You, on this hand, remember, we know what it feels like, so it's easy to attain that thing again. It's because we have a knowing and an understanding of it. But now when we're creating, like, I'm using a fruit as an example, but if you want to manifest money and you're someone who has not had a lot of experience with attaining money or having money, like a large sum of money in your space, then the same technique that you use to attain this grapefruit is the same technique that you'll use to attain wealth. And wealth is a very broad word. I find wealth in like I find wealth in the smallest things, like especially when people say luxury. I mean, I like the simple things in life. So just looking at a mountain again, I mean looking at a mountain every morning, I'm just like, this is pure luxury, and I'm so grateful, and I feel blessed to be where I am right now, because I'm experiencing the purest kind of luxury. And it's not to say that I don't like nice things. I love nice things. I love nice things. It's just there's not a need for them, because I have all of these other things that I can be grateful for. I have all of these small daily luxuries that I'm like, these are truly some of the smallest and yet greatest blessings. So what is happening is that we are creating or remembering what it feels like to have something that we have not yet attained. You're tricking your mind into the feeling that it's already satisfied, it's already satiated by having had this fruit that we have not yet attained. We are building a muscle, and muscles take a bit of time to grow. You expand, they break down, they regress, all of that stuff. And you're building the muscle of learning how to dream with feeling, learning how to dream with your heart space, learning the art of dreaming with a knowing that what you desire has already happened. And when this muscle starts to get stronger and stronger, you'll see yourself attracting all of these things that you have always desired with so much ease, like with a lot more ease. And I mean, I'm a work in progress, but there are things that I've seen that made me realize that there is magic to this. There is so much magic to this thought process of experiencing things inside of us in order to create them in our experience. And the more I've meditated on the things that I've desired, ironically, I find myself just not needing them as much, because I know the feeling of them. I've followed that feeling so much that I'm grateful either way. This developing a knowing from an unknown might take a bit of time to grasp, and this is why I urge you to remember to be kind and patient with yourself and your thoughts. Always be kind and patient with yourself and your thoughts. Thank you for sharing this space with me. My name is Obakeng, and I'm your accidental therapist.